Hey, thanks for tuning into my channel. This is SEI Studios. If you like what you see, make sure you subscribe. Please share, like the videos. And I think there's a little bell button that you're supposed to hit so that you know when I put new content out here, which is going to be often and all the time. SEI Studios does independent work. So in addition to watching stuff like this about Infinity Wars.
Will somebody please explain to me why I insist on putting an S on the end of this movie? It's Infinity War. Not wars, war.
Check out my original content, which includes short films, music videos, commercial work, and things of that nature. But that's not why you're here, even though I would love for you to surf through my channel and find my stuff. We're here to talk about Infinity Wars, and specifically, I'm going to talk about the top 5 things that I liked and didn't like about Infinity Wars. So let's talk about the things that I like first. Number 1 on my list, the first 7 minutes of this movie. It gave me everything that I was looking for when I knew that the Russo brothers were the ones that were going to do Infinity Wars. Why? Because my top 2 favorite movies in the MCU are directed by the Russo brothers. Civil War and The Winter Soldier.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly why you don't break down your equipment before you proof what the hell you shot. I didn't mean to say that I thought that these 2 movies were my favorite movies in the MCU. My favorite movie in the MCU is Black Panther, baby. I meant to say I thought they were the better movies in the MCU. Now, please continue.
In reverse order, actually, as far as my top. Because Winter Soldier is like the Empire Strikes Back of the MCU. And then right behind that was Civil War. So I loved the first 7 minutes. It gave me that dark nature, that very serious tone to the movie that I was hoping to get from the Russo brothers. The second thing that I liked about the movie was Thor and the Guardians. I almost feel like that Thor Ragnarok was made just so that they can go ahead and set up this relationship in Infinity War between him and the Guardians, because it was absolutely brilliant. And I think Chris Hemsworth himself as Thor gave some of the best performance that he's done since he's played this role. I love the moment that he had when he was talking about everything that he lost. And that one little tear, he had that Denzel Washington from Glory, that single tear that kind of fell down there. But I loved his relationship and him calling Rocket Sweet Rabbit. The third thing that I loved, Ebony Maw. I was absolutely pissed when they killed off Ebony Maw, and I'm really hoping, because he was thrown out in space and they showed him frozen, and maybe he'll find some way to kind of survive that. But I thought Ebony Maw was an incredible character, so much so that I really don't even remember everybody else from the Black Order. I mean, not in a substantial kind of way that I cared about who they were. You know, you had the big bruising guy that was supposed to be their version of the Hulk, and then Proxima Midnight and this, that, and the third. But they didn't leave an impression on me like Ebony Maw. I loved that character. The fourth thing that I loved about this movie was watching it in 3D. Sometimes there are certain movies that are projected in 3D, but aren't necessarily built to be a 3D viewing experience. I really loved it when I saw Black Panther, and I went on ahead and saw this movie because I've seen it twice. I saw it the second time in 3D, and I thought the experience was most definitely worth it. So that was the fourth thing that I loved about it. I loved watching and viewing it in 3D. I thought it was set up perfect for it. And the fifth thing that I loved about this movie was Thanos. I thought he was the best character in the entire movie. Josh Brolin created an incredible character, and not since my man who did Gollum and Caesar from Andy Serkis have I seen somebody able to work in that mocap suit and create a real original character. So I absolutely love Thanos, and everything that you wanted to have from that character, I was able to get from him. I was rooting for him. I found myself quietly rooting for Thanos to actually get that last stone at the end. And I thought it was so worth it to have him sitting there, as he said, on a farm, viewing the sunset, and the look on his face like he had succeeded at what it was that he had done. I thought it was just absolutely incredible. 5 things that I did not like about this movie. PTSD Hulk. I didn't like the post-traumatic stress disorder Hulk. I understand why they had to do it from a plot device standpoint, because you couldn't have a Hulk running around in this movie. Okay, Thanos whooped his ass in the first 5 minutes, but that wasn't going to happen a second time. The guy just came out of Thor Ragnarok, where he punched a 100-foot demagogue in the face. The Hulk ain't scared of nothing. The second thing I didn't like, the meaningless death. one of the things that the Russo brothers promised was that the deaths were going to be real. And ultimately, I imagine Heimdall is really gone. I imagine that Loki is really gone. And, you know, you can go back and forth as far as Gamora is concerned. But everybody who died pre-snap is probably really dead. But those that died afterwards became meaningless with the people that were selected to die. You know damn good and well Black Panther is not dead and gone. He just made $1.39 billion for the franchise. And Spider-Man is Spider-Man. One, he's got a 5-picture deal. And two, you're just not going to kill off the Spider-Man character. It just, I don't know. For me, it just put me in a place where I felt like where I should have felt something for this moment, I couldn't feel something for it because ultimately you knew they weren't going anywhere. The third thing that I did not like about Infinity War was the lack of a backstory for Thanos. I was so intrigued with who this character was based on the performance of Josh Brolin, not necessarily for what was written for him, because I thought what was written for him was just, it was too weak. It took the performance of Josh Brolin to take it to a higher level, but I just feel like if they'd have given him more story, particularly more backstory, then, you know, you could have kind of felt his motivation for why he got there. Even though you understand that, you know, he believed it was going to happen on his planet, the people wouldn't listen to him, and it ultimately ended up happening. You just kind of needed that engagement to happen there, and I didn't get it, and it bothered me. The fourth thing that I didn't like about the movie was the fact that Gamora knew where the Soul Stone was. That particularly bothered me. And the reason it did is our introduction for the explanation of what the Infinity Stones were was in the first Guardians. It was the Collector explaining to them what the Infinity... She didn't know that... She knew who her father was. And she had actually, from what we understood from this movie, from Infinity War, she actually went to some of the planets. She went on the missions with him to go ahead and kill half of the population. So she knew what it was that he was interested in. And suddenly these stones are showing, there's not one moment of recognition on her face as to what this knowledge could mean. It seemed like a contrivance to me for it to suddenly show up in this movie. Oh, the one person that he needs to die because he loves to get the Soul Stone is the one who happens to know where the Soul Stone was. And the last thing that I did not like about this, and this really wasn't so much about the story of Infinity War as the construct of what the post-credit scene means for Infinity War. And that is to say, there's no finality. This feels like that kids... I don't know what TV show it came from, but this is the song that never ends. That's what Infinity War felt like at that point. That, okay, here we've got Nick Fury sending off a message to Carol Danvers just to set up the next movie. There was just no finality to it to me. I needed this movie, as promised by the Russo brothers, to be the conclusion to the first 10 years of the MCU, and it wasn't. It was just another continuing story in a story that looks like it's never going to end, because now all of the original members of the Avengers are still alive. Everybody who was there from the very beginning are the ones that survived. And it's an issue for me that is going to need to be settled in the next Avengers. Otherwise, I think they're going to have a problem here if they continue to just allow these stories to go on and on and on. Hey, let me know what you all think about it. Drop a comment down in the comment section. You know, if you like what I'm saying, if you don't like what I'm saying, that's cool. Just let me know what you think. And if you do dig the content, please subscribe to my channel and come back, because I'm going to be dumping stuff out here all the time. Thanks.